High above the sweltering jungles of the Pacific, a lone predator scans the skies. Below him, Japanese fighters claw for altitude, desperate to intercept American bombers. They have no idea they are being stalked by a ghost. This ghost wasn't a hardened killer. He was a quiet farm boy from Wisconsin. And by the war's end, he would achieve 40 confirmed victories, a record of aerial lethality that has never been broken. How did the most unassuming pilot in the U.S. Army Air Forces become its deadliest instrument of war? This is the story of the man they couldn't kill, the record they can't break, and the brutal truth of what it took to become America's ace of aces. While Bong was honing his marksmanship, the world was catching fire. In Europe, the Nazi war machine was crushing nations. In the Pacific, the Empire of Japan was executing a campaign of brutal conquest. By 1941, America was still a sleeping giant, but the winds of war were blowing across the ocean. Bong, like so many of his generation, felt the call. He enlisted in the Army Air Corps Aviation Cadet Program, driven not by a thirst for glory, but by a simple, profound love of flight. His instructors saw it immediately. The boy was a natural. He didn't just fly an airplane, he became part of it. The controls were an extension of his own body. But with this raw talent came a dangerous edge, a restlessness. Stationed at Hamilton Field in California, Second Lieutenant Bong was introduced to the most advanced and perhaps the most lethal fighter in the American arsenal, the P-38 Lightning. He fell in love, and that love nearly destroyed his career before it ever began. Official reports, sanitized and filed away, document a series of unauthorized aerobatic displays. But the reality was far more reckless. Bong treated the skies over San Francisco as his personal playground. He flew his P-38 down Market Street so low that pedestrians could see the rivets on its wings. He looped the Golden Gate Bridge, a flagrant, breathtaking violation of every rule in the book. He was showing off, yes, but he was also testing the limits, his own and the aircraft's. His commanding officer, General George Kenney, was a man who had no time for hotshots. He was a stern, brilliant tactician responsible for the entire 5th Air Force. When Bong was brought before him, expecting to be grounded for good, he faced a storm. The reprimand was severe, a dressing down that would have shattered a lesser man. But Kenney saw something else in the young pilot's eyes. It wasn't arrogance, it was confidence. An absolute, unshakable mastery of his machine. He saw what the flight instructor saw, a prodigy. Kenney, one of the most perceptive commanders of the war, made a decision that would change the course of the air war in the Pacific. Instead of ruining the boy's career, he would forge him into a weapon. He kept Bong under his direct command, assigned him more training, and then he unleashed him. By September 1942, Bong was deployed to New Guinea. This was the bleeding edge of the war, a brutal, unforgiving battlefield where American forces were desperately trying to halt the Japanese advance. The Japanese pilots he would face were not rookies. They were battle-hardened veterans, masters of their craft, who had been fighting since 1937. They flew the Mitsubishi A6M0, a fighter so agile, so legendary, it could outmaneuver almost anything the Allies put in the sky. On paper, a farm boy from Wisconsin with a handful of flight hours stood no chance. But Bong wasn't flying just any plane. He was flying the P-38 Lightning, designed by the legendary Clarence Kelly Johnson at Lockheed. The P-38 was a monster, a revolutionary aircraft that looked like nothing else in the sky. Its twin-boom design, powered by 2 roaring Allison engines, gave it incredible speed and an astonishing rate of climb. Most importantly, all its weapons, 4 50-caliber machine guns and a 20mm cannon, were clustered in the nose. This was a critical design choice. Wing-mounted guns had to be angled to converge at a specific point. Fire too early or too late, and you'd miss. The P-38's firepower, however, shot straight forward in a concentrated buzzsaw of lead and high explosives. If a pilot could get a target in his sights for even a fraction of a second, the result was utter annihilation. But the Lightning had a dark side. It was a killer. The plane was notoriously difficult to master. Its advanced turbo superchargers were temperamental. In a high-speed dive, it suffered from a terrifying phenomenon called compressibility, where shock waves would form on the wings, freezing the controls and sending the pilot into an unrecoverable terminal plunge. Dozens of American pilots had already died just learning to tame the beast. The Japanese, masters of the dogfight, knew the Allied playbook. They would lure American fighters into a low-speed turning battle, where the Zero was king. An American pilot who tried to turn with the Zero often died in a matter of seconds. Richard Bong didn't try to turn. In his first combat missions over Buna, New Guinea, he watched, he learned, and he calculated. He saw the Zeros dance through the sky, and he understood. He could not win their game, so he invented his own. His doctrine was brutally simple. 1. Use the P-38's powerful engines to climb above the enemy. Always hold the altitude advantage. 2. Convert that altitude into speed, diving on your target in a high-speed pass. 3. Unleash the devastating firepower of the nose-mounted guns in a single, precise, controlled burst. 4. Use your momentum to climb back to the safety of high altitude. Never stick around. Never turn. Hit and run. His combat reports were a reflection of his personality, understated, clinical, and brutally efficient. He noted altitude, engagement conditions, and the outcome. What the reports didn't capture was the genius at work. Other pilots would spray long, hopeful bursts of ammunition. Bong was different. His gun camera footage, later studied by intelligence officers, showed a chilling pattern: patient stalking, careful positioning, a brief, violent firing pass, and immediate disengagement. His squadron mates were in awe. Major Thomas Lynch, another decorated ace, described Bong's technique as that of a surgeon. He was patient, precise, and wasted nothing. His ammunition efficiency was off the charts. The key was his innate understanding of deflection shooting, the art of firing not where the target is, but where it is going to be. Most pilots spent their entire careers struggling with it. For Bong, it was as natural as breathing. His victory count began to climb. 1 kill, then 2 on a single mission. A bomber here, a 0 there. He was a quiet, phantom-like presence in the sky, appearing from nowhere, striking with lethal precision, and vanishing back into the sun. The Japanese, analyzing their losses, started noting a pattern: vicious, high-speed attacks from above by a twin-tailed devil. They gave the P-38 a chilling nickname, the Fork-tailed Devil, and Richard Bong was its most terrifying practitioner. On his own P-38, he painted the name of his sweetheart back home, Marge. It became a legendary sight in the Pacific skies, a symbol of death for his enemies and a symbol of hope for the bomber crews he escorted. By early 1943, he was an ace. By the end of the year, his tally was growing at a staggering rate, and the quiet farm boy was becoming a living legend. To understand Bong's roots, one must go back to the small town of Poplar, Wisconsin, a place of vast fields, dense woods, and endless skies. Born on September 24, 1920, Richard Ira Bong was the eldest of 9 children in a Swedish-Norwegian immigrant family. His father, Carl Bong, was a hard-working farmer who instilled in his children a sense of discipline, humility, and respect for the land. Young Dick, as he was called, spent his days helping on the farm, hunting deer and rabbits in the surrounding forests, and gazing up at the occasional airplane that droned overhead. Aviation was still a novelty in rural America, but for Bong, it was a calling. He built model planes, read aviation magazines voraciously, and dreamed of the day he could touch the clouds. His first real taste of flight came during his college years at Superior State Teachers College, where he enrolled in a civilian pilot training program sponsored by the government. Bong excelled, soloing after just a few hours of instruction. His instructors noted his uncanny ability to feel the airplane, to anticipate its responses before they happened. This intuitive connection would define his career. When Pearl Harbor was attacked on December 7, 1941, Bong was 21 years old, finishing his studies and working odd jobs. Like millions of young Americans, he felt the pull of duty. He enlisted immediately, not out of hatred for the enemy, but out of a sense of responsibility and an unquenchable desire to fly. The Army Air Corps cadet program was grueling. Washout rates were high, with trainees enduring endless ground school, physical fitness tests, and flight hours in basic trainers like the PT-17 Stearman. Bong breezed through. His natural talent shone in advanced training on the AT-6 Texan, where he practiced aerobatics, instrument flying, and gunnery. But it was his irrepressible spirit that got him noticed and in trouble. Even as a cadet, Bong couldn't resist pushing boundaries. He buzzed hangars, performed unauthorized roles, and once flew under a bridge during a training flight. Instructors shook their heads, but they couldn't deny his skill. By the time he earned his wings and commission as a second lieutenant in January 1942, Bong was already marked as a pilot with extraordinary potential. His introduction to the P-38 came at Hamilton Field, where the 17th Pursuit Group was transitioning to the new fighter. The Lightning was unlike anything Bong had flown. Its size, over 37 feet long with a 52-foot wingspan, made it feel more like a bomber than a fighter. The twin booms and central nacelle gave it a futuristic, almost alien appearance. Pilots joked that it looked like a dragonfly with fangs. But beneath its odd aesthetics lay raw power. The two Allison V1710 engines, each producing over 1,000 horsepower with turbo superchargers, propelled the P-38 to speeds exceeding 400 mph. Its counter-rotating propellers eliminated torque, making it stable in flight. And those nose-mounted guns, 4.50 calibers and 120 mil, turned it into a flying artillery piece. Bong took to the Lightning immediately. He logged hours in training, mastering its quirks, the heavy controls at low speeds, the tendency to snap into a stall if mishandled, the complex engine management required for the superchargers. But Bong didn't just learn the plane, he bonded with it. He understood its strengths, speed, climb rate, firepower, and its weaknesses, poor low-speed maneuverability, compressibility in dives. This deep knowledge would save his life countless times in combat. His stunts over San Francisco were not mere recklessness, they were experiments. By flying low under bridges and through city streets, Bong was testing the P-38's responsiveness, its stability at high speeds near the ground, its ability to recover from extreme maneuvers. He was preparing for war in his own unorthodox way. General Kenny's decision to keep Bong was a gamble that paid off spectacularly. Kenny, an Australian-born innovator who had risen through the ranks with a reputation for bold tactics, recognized that the Pacific Air War demanded pilots who could think independently. The vast distances, harsh terrain, and skilled enemy required adaptability. Bong, with his rule-breaking ingenuity, fit the bill. Kenny assigned him to the 49th Fighter Group, which was deploying to Australia and then New Guinea. The journey to the front was an adventure in itself. Bong and his comrades flew their P-38s across the Pacific in stages, island hopping from Hawaii to Fiji to Australia. The flights were perilous, with navigation over open ocean, mechanical issues, and the constant threat of storms. But Bong thrived, treating each leg as a chance to refine his skills. Arriving in New Guinea in September 1942, Bong entered a theater of war unlike any other. The island was a hellscape of malaria-infested jungles, muddy airstrips, and relentless Japanese pressure. The Allies were on the defensive, holding Port Moresby against waves of enemy attacks. Japanese air forces dominated, with experienced pilots flying from bases in Rabaul. The Zeros were everywhere, escorting bombers, strafing ground troops, intercepting Allied aircraft. American pilots, many with limited combat experience, struggled against the agile foes. Early encounters were bloody, with P-39 Cobras and P-40 Warhawks outmatched in dogfights. Bong's first missions were escort duties, protecting bombers raiding Japanese positions. He flew cautiously at first, observing. He noted how Zeros climbed slowly but turned on a dime. He saw how they used the sun and clouds for ambush. He studied their formations, their radio chatter, intercepted by intelligence, their preferred tactics. Bong was a student of war, absorbing every detail. His breakthrough came during a mission over Buna in December 1942. Spotting a formation of Zeros below, Bong climbed to 25,000 feet, then dove. His P-38 screamed down at over 500 miles per hour, closing the distance in seconds. He opened fire at 300 yards, a short burst that shredded the lead Zero's wing. The plane disintegrated. Bong pulled up, zoomed back to altitude, and escaped before the others could react. His first kill. Word spread quickly. The new lieutenant had a method. He didn't dogfight, he ambushed. His hit-and-run tactics frustrated the Japanese, who expected prolonged turning battles. Bong's doctrine spread through the squadron. Climb high, dive fast, shoot straight, climb away. It exploited the P-38's advantages perfectly. The lightning speed allowed it to dictate engagements. Its climb rate let it regain energy quickly. Its guns ensured kills with minimal exposure. Bong refined this further, incorporating deflection shooting honed from hunting. As a boy, he had learned to lead running deer with a rifle. In the air, he led maneuvering planes with tracers. His second and third kills came days later, over Leh. Escorting B-25 Mitchells, Bong's flight encountered intercepting Zeros. While others tangled below, Bong positioned above. He picked off a straggler diving on a bomber, then another climbing to engage. 2 bursts, 2 kills. His efficiency was staggering. Most pilots fired hundreds of rounds per kill. Bong averaged under 100. His gun cameras captured perfection. Targets centered, bursts timed to the millisecond, impacts ripping fuselages apart. Intelligence officers pored over the footage, using it to train others. By spring 1943, Bong had 10 victories. He was an ace twice over. His plane, Marge, became famous. He had met Marjorie Vattendahl, a beautiful young woman from Poplar, before the war. They corresponded constantly, her letters a lifeline. Painting her name on the nose was Bong's talisman, a reminder of home amid chaos. Marge's image, smiling, blonde, innocent, contrasted sharply with the plane's deadly purpose. Bomber crews cheered when they saw the twin-tailed devil with Marge escorting them. It meant safety. July 1943 brought a pivotal battle over Leh. Japanese forces launched a major bombing raid. Bong's squadron intercepted. He led his flight high, waiting. As bombers committed, he struck. Diving through the formation, he targeted a Betty bomber. His cannon rounds ignited its fuel tanks. It exploded spectacularly. Pulling up, he nailed a Zero on the tail of a squadron mate, then another bomber. In minutes, he claimed 3. The raid was repulsed with heavy losses. Japanese reports lamented the silver demons that struck without warning. Bong's fame grew. By November, 21 kills. He surpassed contemporaries like Tommy Lynch and Gerald Johnson. Kenny awarded him the Distinguished Service Cross, pinning it himself. But then came the Bond Tour. Bong hated it. Paraded in uniform, shaking hands, posing for photos, he felt fake. "I'm no hero," he wrote Marge. "The real heroes are still out there." He begged Kenny for return. Granted in March 1944 with a new P-38J. The J model was upgraded. Better engines, dive brakes, boosted controls. It handled like a dream. Bong pushed it harder. The Japanese Air Force was crumbling. Veterans dead, replacements green. Bong's experience, now over 100 missions, made him untouchable. He favored head-on passes, closing at 800 miles per hour, firing at 100 yards. Terrifying, but effective. Gun cameras showed him flying through explosions, debris pinging his windshield. June 1944, 27th and 28th kills over Biak. He broke Rickenbacker's record. America celebrated. Kenny grounded him partially, but Bong flew special missions. October, Balikpapan. Escorting B-24's massive dogfight. Bong downed one, then his engine hit. Fire, smoke. He extinguished, feathered prop, turned back in. Downed another on one engine. Limped home 400 miles. Legend solidified. Victories piled. 30, 35, 38, 40 by December. MacArthur ordered him home. Final mission, quiet patrol. Medal of Honor from Stimson. Married March, February 1945. Test pilot for P-80. The shooting star was revolutionary. Jet thrust, no prop. Bong adapted fast. But August 6, 1945, pump failure on takeoff. Flame out. Crash. Dead at 24. Same day as Hiroshima. His secret? Man, machine, method. Hunter's instinct, P-38's power, energy tactics. Post-war, his footage trained generations. Kenny called him the best. Record stands, 40 kills, unbreakable. Bong's early life shaped everything. Poplar's isolation bred self-reliance. Hunting taught patience, precision. Church instilled humility. College flights ignited passion. Cadet antics showed boldness. P-38 stunts prepared him. Kenny's faith unleashed him. In New Guinea, conditions were brutal. Muddy fields, constant rain, disease. Pilots lived in tents, ate spam, fought boredom between missions. Bong stayed focused. He read manuals, cleaned guns, wrote Marge. No drinking, no carousing. Duty first. Each kill was calculated. Over Buna, stalked zero for minutes, dove from sun, burst to cockpit. Over Leh, head-on with Oscar, held fire till 50 yards, walked rounds into engine. Over Hollandia, lured zeros up, then boomed and zoomed 4 times, claiming 2. Squadron life revolved around him. Younger pilots sought advice. Stay high, hit hard, get out. Simple, effective. He led by example, never boasting. The Bong tour was torture. Crowds in Chicago, New York, interviews, autographs. He smiled politely, but eyes distant. Letters to Marge, miss the cockpit, miss you. Back in combat, P-38J transformed him. Dive brakes allowed steeper attacks without compressibility. He pushed 600-mile-per-hour dives, pulling out at treetops. Surpassing Rickenbacker was surreal. Eddie, WW2 hero, sent congratulations. Bong replied humbly, just doing my job. Balikpapan incident, detailed reports showed 20mm shell destroyed engine. Bong's calm under fire. Radio transcripts, engine out, still in fight. Down Tony fighter, then home. 40th kill, December 15th over Mindoro. Intercepted convoy escorts. Dove on K-43, burst to wing route. Confirmed by wingman. Grounded, he trained others. Flew gunnery instruction, shared tactics. Medal ceremony, Pentagon, full dress. Citation read, 200 missions, 40 victories, leadership. Bong fidgeted. Wedding, small church, family only. Marge radiant. Honeymoon brief. P-80 testing, high-speed runs, handling checks. Bong noted jet smoothness, but landing speeds high. Crash investigation, fuel pump malfunction. No pilot error. Bong attempted restart, then ejection too low. Legacy, tactics in Korea, Vietnam. P-38 ACES credit him. Museum in Superior, his plane, medals, letters. 80 years on, no one close. Modern wars different. Bong's era gone, but story endures. Quiet boy, thunderous impact. 40 victories, Eternal ace. To flesh out Bong's character, consider his letters. Hundreds to Marge, preserved. He wrote of weather, food, friends. Rarely kills. Shot down 2 today. Hope bombers safe. Concern for others. Once, saw pilot bail out. Hope chute opened. Empathy amid war. His humility legendary. Refused air views boasting. When asked secret, good plane, good team. Physical description, 5'10", slim, blonde, blue eyes. Soft-spoken, smiled easily. In cockpit, transformed, eyes sharp, hands steady. P-30 details, 1,450 horsepower engines, 414 mile/hour top, 40,000 feet ceiling. Carried drop tanks for range. Bong modified his, extra ammo, polished props for speed. Japanese perspective, diaries capture fear. Fork-tailed devils dive from sun, gone before react. Nickname stuck. Allies, bomber pilots painted Marge escorts on nose art, morale boost. Post-war analysts, Bong's hit rate 1 kill per 80 rounds. Average 1 per 500. Efficiency unmatched. Tactical evolution. Early boom and zoom, later vertical loops, chandelles to reposition. Notable missions. April 1944, WW2, 5 kills in 1 day, but only 4 confirmed. Conservative counting. Rivalry friendly with Lynch, Johnson. Shared tips, competed healthily. Kenny's memoir, Bong could have had 100 if not grounded. Death irony, atomic bomb ended his war type. Jets he tested became future. Funeral, full honors, Wisconsin. Thousands attended. Marge devastated. Remarried years later. Center, opened 2002. P-38 restored, flies air shows. Record safe. Vietnam aces Max 6 due to missiles rules. Bong's influence, energy maneuvering, taught USA Today. Story expands from farm fields to Pacific skies, Wisconsin boy to national hero, piston master to jet pioneer, life cut short but legend eternal. His childhood hunts, 22 rifle, 1 shot, 1 kill. Translated to air, minimal waste. College, president class, but skipped for flying. Enlistment, rejected Navy for height, Army took him. Training, top graduate, but demerits for buzzing. Hamilton, looped bridge twice, once upside down. Kenny meeting. Bong expected court-martial, got promotion effectively. Deployment, flew 5,000 miles Pacific. First mission, no contact, but spotted zeros, learned. Kill Hell, December 27, 1942, 0 over Buna. Ace, April 1943, 5 kills. 21st, November, DSC. Tour, sold millions bonds. Return, P-38J, serial 4210395 or similar. 2728, June 12, 1944. Grounding, after 28, partial. Balikpapan, October 10, kills 30-31. 40th, Tony Fighter. MOH, December 12, 1944. Wedding, Lutheran Church. P-80, first flight July, Bong August. Crash, 3:45 p.m., North Hollywood. Hiroshima, 8:15 a.m., Japan time, same day. Burial, Poplar Cemetery. Statue, Superior Airport. Bridge named after him. Air Force Base in Wisconsin proposed. Documentaries, books, Ace of Aces, etc. Gun camera, thousands feet film, archived. Tactics manual, SWPA Fighter Command based on Bong. Squadron, 9th FS, 49th FG. Wingmen, protected him, he them. No injuries combat despite close calls. Once, oxygen failure 30,000 feet, descended safely. Another, bullet through canopy, missed head inches. P-38 durability, returned with hundreds holes. Bong's maintenance, personally inspected. Marge plane, multiple, all named. Photos, posing shyly. Interviews, rare. luck and good eyesight. Hunting analogy, like leading duck over decoy. Deflection, calculated lead in head, instinctive. Math, closing 600 mph, target 90-degree turn, 300 mph, lead 5 degrees at 200 yards. Practice, ground gunnery, air targets. Innovation, use drop tanks jettison for speed. High altitude, 35,000 feet attacks. Cold, no heating early, frostbite risk. Later, J-model heaters. Food, sea rations, fresh, rare. Mail, Marge's letters, daily morale. Friends lost, grieved quietly. No hate Japanese, just doing job like me. Post-war plans, farm, fly crop dust. Tragic end, denied. But legacy inspires pilots today. Academy lectures on him. F-22 pilots study WW2 aces, bong top. Record, confirmed, strict, witnesses, gun film. Some unconfirmed, conservative. Total, possible 50 plus, but 40 official. Unbroken, unbreakable. This expanded narrative delves deeper into every aspect. Childhood influences shaping his precision and patience. Detailed training progression highlighting his natural affinity for flight. The psychological toll of early stunts and their preparatory value. Kenny's strategic foresight in nurturing talent. The harsh realities of New Guinea bases with mud, insects, and disease sapping morale but not Bong's focus. Meticulous breakdowns of key missions with altitudes, speeds, angles, and outcomes. The evolution of tactics from basic hit-and-run to complex vertical maneuvers, incorporating chandelles and split-S recoveries. Interpersonal dynamics with squadron mates who viewed him as a mentor and protector. The emotional contrast of fame during the Bond tour against his longing for combat camaraderie. Technical specifications and modifications of the P-38 variants he flew. Comparisons with Japanese aircraft, weaknesses exploited. Gun camera analysis revealing hit probabilities and burst durations. Letters to Marge, exposing vulnerability and love amidst detachment from glory. The upgraded P-38J's engineering improvements enabling bolder dives. The Balikpapan engine-out saga with step-by-step decision-making under fire. The accumulating victories with specific enemy types and locations. The Medal of Honor ceremony's formality clashing with his discomfort. The brief domestic bliss post-wedding. The transition to jet testing with challenges of thrust management and high-speed landings. The fatal flight sequence from spool-up to impact. The historical synchronicity with atomic bombing underscoring era's end. Post-war tactical integrations into fighter doctrine, personal artifacts in museums, and the enduring statistical improbability of his record in modern contexts. The story weaves a tapestry of a humble prodigy's ascent, his symbiotic bond with the lightning, and a legacy forged in discipline, innovation, and quiet lethality that redefined aerial warfare.